Welcome back to the Before AGI podcast. Today we are going way beyond just code generation. We're diving into the whole world of AI transforming software development.
Yeah, it's not just AI writing code for us.
Right.
Although that is definitely a big part of it. But we're going to explore how AI is changing how we build software, from the first lines of code to testing, debugging.
Oh, and even managing those huge projects too.
Exactly. And it's becoming such a vital part of the entire software development lifecycle, the SDLC.
The SDLC.
Yeah. I think what's so interesting is that we're seeing AI go from just like hype.
Like a cool demo.
Yeah, like a cool demo to a must-have for developers.
A must-have.
It really is. Take GitHub Copilot, for instance.
Yeah.
It's become so popular among developers in a very short time.
Yeah, it seems like it's exploded in popularity.
It really has, and some are even speculating that this is connected to a decline in traffic on Stack Overflow.
Oh, interesting. Stack Overflow, the go-to for coding questions.
Exactly.
So instead of searching online for a solution, developers are turning to their AI assistant.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a pretty big shift. But Copilot is just one piece of the puzzle, right? I mean, we have this research paper, Large Language Models for Software Engineering.
Yeah.
And it digs into how AI is being used across that entire software development process.
Absolutely. And what's so great about this paper is it analyzes a huge amount of research, 229 studies to be precise.
Okay, wow.
And categorizes the different ways that AI is being applied to the 6 key stages of that software development lifecycle.
The SDLC.
The SDLC development, quality assurance and testing, software maintenance, software management, and then also deployment and operation.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit. Let's start with development, because that's where it seems like, according to this research, most of the AI action is happening.
Yeah, for sure. The majority of studies, 136 out of 229, are focusing on the development phase. And within that, code generation is the big one. We're talking AI models like Codex, GPT-4, and Code Llama, which can write accurate code based on, instructions given just in plain English.
Wait, hold on. So I can just describe what I want my software to do, and these AI models will spit out the actual code for me.
Pretty much, yeah. It's not limited to just generating entire programs either.
Okay.
AI is being used for a bunch of more specific tasks too, like code completion. That's where tools like GitHub Copilot shine. Start typing, and it suggests the next piece of code, almost like it's reading your mind.
That's wild. So it's like having an AI pair programmer who always knows what you're thinking.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
And this is really just the beginning.
Okay.
AI can also generate these summaries of existing code, so it can help you understand it faster. It can recommend relevant APIs. It can even help with data analysis.
So it's like this supercharged toolbox.
Right.
For developers.
Yeah.
Giving them these new superpowers.
Exactly.
It's no wonder that, in the 2023 Stack Overflow survey, the vast majority of developers are already using AI tools like ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot.
Right.
83% are using ChatGPT.
Oh, wow.
56% said they use Copilot. I mean, that's a lot. It seems like developers are embracing these tools.
Oh, for sure. They are. And the benefits are obvious. These tools are helping developers write code way faster, reduce errors, and just tackle more complex tasks. It's not just about automating those boring things, It's about empowering those developers to be more creative and more efficient.
Right. So AI is not just doing the grunt work. It's actually helping developers think bigger and better.
Totally.
But what about testing all this AI-generated code?
Yeah.
Can AI also help ensure that, everything works as intended?
Yeah, that's where quality assurance testing comes in. Now, there's not as much research in this area compared to development, but there is still a lot of promising work being done.
So how is AI being used to improve software testing? What's going on there?
Well, one way is that AI can automatically generate test suites.
Okay.
That saves developers a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And it can also identify those tricky, flaky tests that are such a headache for developers.
Hold on. Back up for a sec. What exactly are flaky tests?
Oh, yeah, good question. So imagine you have a test that sometimes passes, sometimes it fails, even if you haven't changed the code at all.
Oh, I see.
That's a flaky test. They're unreliable. And they make it really difficult to figure out if the code actually has a problem or if the test itself is the one that's faulty.
Ah, got it. So flaky tests are like a false alarm.
Exactly.
Okay, they create confusion, they slow down that whole development process,
Right.
And AI can help identify those, right?
Exactly, yeah. So that's one of the ways AI is making testing smarter. But it can also be used for even more complex testing, like exploratory testing. where the AI actually explores different parts of the software, looking for those unexpected bugs or issues.
So it's not just making testing faster, it's making it more comprehensive and insightful.
Yeah, exactly. And we're seeing specialized AI testing tools emerging already. You have Codium.ai, which is focused specifically on generating tests using AI. And then you also have tools like Cursor, which are more general but use GPT-4 and incorporate testing capabilities.
Wow. So we have AI helping us write the code
Yeah.
and then testing it for us. It's like having this whole team of AI assistants just at our fingertips.
Exactly.
But what happens when those inevitable bugs do creep in?
Yeah.
Can AI help us squash those too?
Absolutely, yeah. Software maintenance is another area where AI is proving to be incredibly valuable. Models like Codex and ChatGPT have shown they can actually fix a surprisingly high percentage of bugs, like over 60% in some benchmark tests.
Seriously, AI can find and fix the bugs. That's mind-blowing.
It is impressive, but it's important to remember that those tests might not perfectly reflect real-world scenarios. Bug reports can be messy, they can be complex, and sometimes human judgment is still needed to fully understand and resolve the issue.
So AI is a powerful bug-busting tool, but not quite a magic bullet yet.
Right.
Okay.
But even if it can't solve every problem, it can still significantly speed up that debugging process. AI can analyze code, pinpoint those potential problem areas, even suggest fixes, and that makes developers way more efficient.
I mean, this is starting to feel like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know.
Write code, test code, fix code, all with the help of AI.
Yeah.
It's like having this AI sidekick.
For every developer.
For every developer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
But it doesn't stop there, right?
It doesn't.
AI can also help with code reviews, right?
Right.
Making sure that the code is accurate, consistent, and following those best practices. You can even help identify duplicate bugs so that the same issue doesn't keep popping up again and again.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it really seems like AI is transforming every stage of that development process. It's not just about automating tasks. It's about making developers better at what they do.
That's a great way to put it. But it's not just about that individual developer.
Okay.
AI is also having an impact on the bigger picture of software management.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me. How is AI shaking things up on the management side of software development?
Well, to be honest, software management is the area where AI hasn't made as much progress. At least, not yet.
Okay.
There's still a lot of room for growth and innovation in this space.
Why is that? Is it just harder to apply AI to those management tasks?
It's partly because management involves a lot of human judgment, intuition. And that can be really difficult to replicate with AI. Think about tasks like planning, costing, tracking progress, making decisions about resources. Those all need a deep understanding of the project, of the team, and the broader context of the business.
It's not just about crunching the numbers, right? It's understanding all the human stuff and project dynamics.
Exactly. And that's where AI still has a ways to go.
So does that mean AI is doomed to fail in this realm of software management?
No, not necessarily.
Yeah.
It just means we have to approach it a little differently. Remember that famous essay by Frederick P. Brooks, No Silver Bullet?
Yeah.
He argued that the biggest gains in software development productivity come from focusing on the planning and analysis stages of a project, not just the coding itself.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. Are you saying that AI could be that silver bullet for improving the planning and analysis phases?
It's definitely possible. AI could help us analyze data, identify patterns, and make better decisions early in the development process. But we need way more research and development in this area to really unlock AI's full potential in software management.
Okay, so AI for software management is still a bit of a work in progress.
It is, yeah.
This all brings up a question that I've had through this whole discussion.
Yeah.
What are some real-world examples of how developers are actually using AI in their day-to-day work? I mean, beyond all this theoretical stuff, how is it actually playing out?
That's a great question. We actually have some insights from a developer who's been using these tools firsthand, Scott Hanselman.
Yeah, I know him.
He works at Microsoft.
Yeah.
He has a great YouTube video where he talks about his experience with GitHub Copilot.
I think I've seen that one.
What's so interesting is that he goes beyond that basic code generation and digs into how you can have this more interactive, almost conversational experience with the AI.
Yeah. He talks about something called rubber duck debugging, right?
That's the one. It's a technique where you explain your problem to an inanimate object.
Like literally a rubber duck.
Like a rubber duck.
Okay.
Just to help you think through the issue more clearly.
Yeah.
Well, Hanselman found he could do the same thing with Copilot. He'd describe his problem to the AI, and sometimes just the act of articulating the issue would help him find the solution.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So Copilot can be like a sounding board for developers.
Exactly.
It helps them work through those complex problems.
But it goes way beyond being a good listener. Copilot can analyze the code, identify potential issues, suggest improvements, even offer alternative approaches demonstrating a deep understanding of the code's context.
Like an AI mentor
Yeah, exactly.
who's always there to guide you.
Always there.
And what's even more impressive is that Copilot doesn't just offer these big, flashy features. It's got all those little delighters.
The delighters. Yeah.
Like Hanselman mentions those, right?
He does.
Features like those rename suggestions,
Mm-hmm.
where Copilot can intelligently suggest better names for variables, functions, things like that. And then there's the commit message generation.
Mm-hmm.
That can be a huge time saver, especially if you're working on a complex project with a lot of changes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He also talked about how Copilot can help with testing, like suggesting breakpoints, analyzing exceptions. It really is like having this AI assistant looking over your shoulder,
Constantly. Yeah.
offering those hints and guidance.
Yeah, and GitHub is constantly adding new features and improvements to Copilot, making it more powerful and versatile.
So it seems like the takeaway here is that AI isn't just this theoretical thing.
No.
It's a real tool that developers are using to solve real problems.
Real world problems, yeah.
And build real software.
Yeah.
And it's not just about automating those tasks either.
No.
It's about really augmenting those human capabilities,
Yeah.
making developers more efficient, more creative, more productive.
I totally agree. And as AI keeps evolving, I mean, who knows what the future holds for software development?
Exactly. It's really exciting to think about.
It is. You know, it's incredible how fast things are changing. Like, we've been talking about GitHub Copilot. It's a perfect example of how AI is transforming development, right?
For sure.
But GitHub itself is also evolving, embracing AI in these really interesting ways.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are they doing beyond Copilot? I mean, that's already pretty revolutionary, right?
Right. Copilot is a fantastic tool.
Yeah.
But GitHub is thinking bigger. They're integrating AI into more and more of their platform.
Okay.
And they actually made some pretty big announcements at their GitHub Universe conference.
Oh, yeah.
The theme was multi-model AI, which basically means developers can now choose different AI models to power their Copilot experience.
Wait, so it's not just limited to one AI model anymore.
Right.
That's a big deal.
It is. They've added support for things like Anthropic's Claude 3.5 Sonnet, Google's Gemini 1.5 Pro,
Oh, wow.
and even additional variations of OpenAI's GPT-4.
Okay, so developers have more choices now.
Yeah, now developers can choose the AI model that best suits their needs, and their coding style.
That's really cool. It's like having a whole team of AI assistants, each with its own strengths.
Exactly. And this move towards multi-model AI is something we're seeing across the whole industry.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Developers are realizing that different AI models are good at different things.
Uh-huh.
So having choices is incredibly empowering.
Yeah, totally. So how does this multi-model approach work in practice?
Mm-hmm.
Can developers seamlessly switch between them as they're coding?
Well, right now, developers still have to choose which model they want to use manually. But GitHub is working on making this process, smarter, more automated.
Yeah.
They're thinking about a future where Copilot can just automatically pick the best model for whatever you're doing based on the code you're writing, how fast you need it, things like that.
Okay, so it'll get even smarter over time.
Right.
And that's not all, right? I mean, GitHub is also focusing on making Copilot work with the tools developers are already using, right?
Absolutely. They've been expanding their integrations with popular IDEs, the integrated development environments.
Oh, yeah, IDEs.
Yeah, the software platforms where developers actually write and edit code.
So Copilot isn't just limited to, like, the GitHub website.
No, not at all. It's available as an extension for a bunch of different code editors.
Okay.
Things like Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio, JetBrains IDEs, and now even Apple's Xcode.
Oh, wow. Xcode support. That's
Yeah.
huge. I mean, that opens it up to a massive community of Apple developers, right?
Right.
It really shows that GitHub is committed to making Copilot accessible.
Yeah.
And they're going beyond just basic code completion, right?
They are. They're introducing some more advanced AI-powered features, too. Things like multi-file editing.
Okay, multi-file editing. What is that?
So imagine you're working on this huge project.
Okay.
Hundreds, maybe even thousands of files.
Yeah.
Making changes across all those files, it can be a real pain
Yeah, I get it.
and really prone to errors. But with multi-file editing, you can give Copilot these high-level instructions, and it makes those changes across all the files in your project.
So instead of editing each file one by one,
Yeah.
I can just tell Copilot what to change,
Mm-hmm.
and it handles all the details, and
Yeah.
that's a time saver.
Oh, for sure. And it helps reduce errors, too.
Okay.
Because when you're manually editing a bunch of files, it's easy to miss stuff. Introduce inconsistencies.
Right.
But Copilot can look at the whole code base and make sure all the changes are consistent and correct.
It's like having this AI assistant who's not only a great coder, but also a meticulous editor.
Exactly.
Make sure everything is in sync.
And let's not forget about code review, which is crucial, but can also be, well, time-consuming and tedious.
Yeah, for sure. Code reviews can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack, especially with these big, complex projects.
Definitely. Well, GitHub is working on a new AI-powered code review system
Okay.
that should streamline that whole process.
Okay, so AI-powered code review. How does that even work? Does it actually, like, read and understand the code like a human reviewer?
Well, the idea is that development teams can set specific rules and requirements for their code, and Copilot will automatically review those pull requests based on those rules.
Okay.
It can identify potential issues, suggest improvements, even flag code that doesn't follow the team's coding standards.
So it's like having an AI-powered quality assurance expert on every team.
Yeah.
Making sure every line of code meets the standards.
And because it's automated, it frees up those human reviewers. They can focus on the more complex stuff,
Oh, yeah.
like architectural decisions, overall code design,
Right.
the big picture.
Right, right. So it's like AI is taking care of those tedious, repetitive tasks, and that allows human developers to focus on the more creative, strategic stuff.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and GitHub's vision goes beyond just professional developers.
Okay.
They've announced this new tool called Spark. It's all about making software development accessible to a much wider audience.
Oh, Spark. So is it like those no-code, low-code platforms where anyone can build software even if they don't know how to code?
It's kind of similar, but it's more focused on enabling personal software creation, like empowering people to build these small custom applications.
Okay, so not like enterprise-level software, more like personal use, right?
Right, exactly. And what's so cool is that Spark uses the power of Copilot. It's incredibly intuitive. You just describe what you want in plain English. Spark and Copilot will generate the code for you.
That's amazing. It's like having an AI partner
Yeah,
who helps you turn your ideas into reality,
exactly.
even if you don't know how to code.
Yeah.
So GitHub really wants to democratize software development.
Yeah, make it accessible to anyone.
Anyone with an idea.
Exactly. Anyone. And this democratization of software development, it's a powerful concept.
Yeah.
It means we're not limited by the number of professional developers in the world anymore.
Yeah. Anyone with an idea and a willingness to learn can now build software.
Exactly.
That's a pretty exciting future. But GitHub isn't the only company pushing the boundaries here, right?
No, definitely not.
What are some other examples of AI being used out there?
Well, remember our conversation with Martin Abbott, the integration expert?
Well, yeah, Martin was great. He was so enthusiastic about AI in the integration space.
He was. He talked about how these AI-powered tools, he called them copilots too, are helping developers build way more sophisticated integration solutions.
Okay, so same idea. AI as a helpful partner, not a replacement.
Right. And he emphasized that, AI is all about empowering humans, not replacing them. And he also talked about how important ethics are in AI development.
Right. We can't just blindly embrace AI, right?
Exactly. He's right. AI systems can be biased. We need to be mindful of that and make sure AI is developed and used responsibly. Prioritize fairness and transparency.
So it's not just about making AI work well.
No.
It's about making sure it works ethically.
Exactly. And Martin believes that AI will play an even bigger role in integration in the future, enabling these more powerful and sophisticated solutions.
It's amazing to see how AI is impacting everything, from writing code to managing those projects to building integrations.
Everything.
It feels like we're right on the cusp of a huge transformation.
We are. It's such an exciting time to be involved in all of this. The future of software development is being written right now, and AI is playing a leading role. It's really amazing to think about how far AI has come. I mean, just a few years ago, the idea of AI writing code or, even managing projects, it just seemed like science fiction. And now it's becoming so normal.
Yeah, it feels like a tipping point. Like AI isn't this futuristic thing anymore. It's actually shaping the present and the future of how we build software. But like we talked about, we need to be thoughtful, right?
Oh, for sure. We can't just get caught up in all the amazing things AI can do and forget about the potential downsides.
Right. So let's talk about some of those challenges, those concerns that come with this AI revolution, like intellectual property rights, for example. If AI is trained on all this publicly available code, is there a risk of, copyright infringement?
Yeah, that's a valid concern, and it's something that companies like GitHub are really thinking about. They've actually put features into Copilot that are meant to, lower those risks. Like they have a code referencing filter. It can detect and even block code suggestions that are really close to publicly available code.
So it's trying to avoid just spitting out code that's basically copied from someone else's work.
Exactly. And it's not perfect,
Yeah.
but it's definitely a step in the right direction. And, GitHub is very open about the data they use to train Copilot. They're clear that they don't own any of the suggestions, and they're constantly working to improve their systems to address these concerns.
Transparency is so important with technologies like this, like where it can be hard to tell who owns what.
Absolutely.
What about security?
Yeah.
If these AI tools are trained on tons of code, couldn't some of that code have, security vulnerabilities?
Yeah, that's a big one. And it's another thing that companies like GitHub are actively trying to fix. They've got a bunch of security measures in place, filters that can actually block code suggestions that have known vulnerabilities.
So Copilot is more than just a code generator. It's like a security watchdog too, right?
It is, yeah. Trying to stop those vulnerabilities from sneaking into the code.
That's really interesting.
But we have to remember, AI tools aren't a magic solution for security. They can help a lot, but they can't replace good security practices and human oversight.
So developers still need to be careful, take responsibility for the security of their code, even if they're using AI tools.
Absolutely. It's always the developer's job to make sure their code is secure and reliable. AI can help, but it can't replace human judgment and expertise.
This has been an amazing conversation. It feels like we've only scratched the surface, though.
Yeah.
We've talked about the incredible things AI can do for software development, but we've also talked about the potential problems, the challenges we need to face. It's clear that this is going to change everything.
Oh, absolutely. And it's important to remember we're still pretty early on in this whole AI revolution. The tools, the technologies, everything's changing so fast. Who knows what's next?
For our listeners who want to learn more, dive deeper into this world, where should they go? What resources would you suggest?
You mentioned it earlier. Ian Ochieng's YouTube channel, Ian Ochieng AI, is amazing. He makes even those complex AI ideas and tools so easy to understand. Tons of great tutorials and insights for everyone. It doesn't matter what your background is.
And of course, we'll keep exploring this stuff here on the Before AGI podcast, bringing you the latest on AI and all this amazing technology.
Absolutely. It's a journey we're all on together. Who knows what the future holds for AI and software development?
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the AI revolution that's happening all around us. Hopefully you learned a lot, had fun, and maybe even had your mind blown a little bit.
I think we all did. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep building. The future is being written in code right now, and we're all a part of that.